Welcome to Tammy Nation. Let's go.
I've been running from 9 to 5, been biting my tongue for all this time. Won't let anyone cut me short. I was thinking this was the way to go, and you put up your puppet show. I say cheers to life. No, I'll be no good man. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. No, you better go.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I decided to pop on and give a wrap up and talk with you guys about what you thought about the little town hall there. And then also the Arizona Sheriff's Department did do a little bit of a presser this evening that I caught while watching Trump on CNN as well regarding the border issue going on. So I thought I'd update you guys on that as well. So first and foremost, my thoughts about what happened tonight with this town hall with Caitlyn. I'm going to say this: as far as an interviewer, this was a big deal. Obviously, it was the first time Mr. T had been on CNN since the 2016 presidential election, so it was a big get for her. As far as how she handled it, in my opinion, she seemed to be confident. She seemed to be strong in her approach and everything. But I think one of the biggest mistakes that she made as an interviewer, especially with a big interview like this, was she kept interrupting him and she kept giving one-liners to him, discounting what he had to say with no facts, follow-up, or follow through to it, which always can be just like a waste of time. So basically, as an interviewer, it was like he said, she said. So she'd interrupt him, or she'd say, when it came to the fraud, she would say, "There's no proof of that." Hey, Garrett, basically, and left it at that. So that's what I call unprofessional. As a professional, a journalist and interviewer, getting a big deal like this, she shouldn't have interrupted him. And if she had issue with something he said and wanted to discount it, she could have said, "Hey, Mr. President, I want to counter with what you had to say." And she should say, "These are the facts that I have, blah, 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 blah," and then let him respond. Because as an interviewer, she is supposed to be, taking care of him as the interviewee. It's a big deal. Now, obviously, she had a lot of pressure on her, whether you agree with her or CNN or not. It is a lot of pressure. And, I'm sure she had an earpiece in and she had people telling her what to say, or, speak now, let this go, change the subject. She had the director in her earpiece for sure, 100%. But basically, I just think that she was a little bit aggressive. She wasn't warm and friendly. We didn't really expect her to be. However, Mr. T didn't miss a beat. And while I was watching this, I was thinking, my gosh, the leader of the free country and free world right now can't even do anything like this. He has to read off of little cards. He has to be directed on and off stage. He needs to have handlers around him all the time to direct him where to go. And I thought, here's Mr. T. And, he's just going at it like he always did. And Garrett, yeah, she looked like she did look like she wanted to slap him with the Carol look. So it was a big deal. I found it interesting that they had a woman interview him. That was probably good on their part, a good decision to get that appeal there. Big, strong woman interviewing him. However, like I said, I think she was too aggressive, too much interrupting, and too much with her one-liners saying, at one point she said, you got to stop talking about the E stuff because you need to let that go because there's no proof of that. So she kept hammering at that, the one-liners. And basically, the professional that he is, he just moved on and just kept doing what he does as Mr. T. One of the questions was that people asked, I thought some of the questions that they asked were pretty cool, was one of them said, if you were in office, what would you be doing at the border? What do you think that would be going on? And basically, you've probably heard his answer. It wouldn't have gotten this way in the first place. I built hundreds of miles of the wall. She kept countering over and over again, saying you only did 52 miles, and it was ridiculous because she kept hammering that idea. But I found it interesting because there's 1,500 troops that Biden's sending to the border. I don't know if that's enough or not. I just think that it shouldn't be there at all. We shouldn't be in this situation. And Mr. T was saying, she kept saying new wall. I guess that validated the fact of her number 52 miles, because Mr. T was saying just because there was a little bit of like a stick there sticking in the ground, or the fence was kind of hanging over, that they didn't include that as part of the mileage of me building it. So when you henpeck and you just nitpick at things like that, it's absolutely ridiculous. We're supposed to be on the same side trying to keep this country safe. Obviously, she just felt that it was necessary to make sure that everybody knew over and over and over again it was only 52 miles. Garrett says when he was talking to a voter, she understood why, a question was so rude. She interrupted, yeah, Kim, she didn't do herself that good of a justice. Like I said, that was a lot of pressure. That was a big deal. That was a big deal. So like I said, she came across strong, confident, but she was rude. Sometimes people, when they're insecure or they're unsure, they will come across a little bit harsher to cover that insecure feeling. Like I said, it was a lot of pressure. Hey, Susie, good to see you too. Why? CNN. Yeah. Well, he said earlier, Susie, I did a show, and Mr. T said they made him a deal that he couldn't refuse. So that's why he went there. But the interesting point I want to make about the wall that Mr. T said, he said, tomorrow will be a day of infamy. So I thought that was pretty poignant and very interesting. Title 42 is going to expire. Let me see. It is going to expire. I wrote it down at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. We will go to the Arizona Sheriff's briefing tonight. I'll cover some of that, talk to you about that. The sheriffs were saying that all along the border, that's just not the only issues, that there is an area in the suburbs of Phoenix that they arrested 25 illegals in one stop. Okay, that's one stop. And he said, we do these stops every day, all day, that it's in the inter rim of the United States. It's not just along the wall, okay, along the borders. These Arizona sheriffs are saying the impact is really bad in Arizona. He stated tonight that 50% of the drugs coming in to the U.S., 50% are coming through those borders, okay? So that is why it's such a huge issue. Even the Wisconsin sheriffs, we're talking about the same kind of issues in Wisconsin. So it is on the interior of the United States, because this has been going on for a long time now, okay? They're saying that there's at least 10,000 people crossing, the migrants, illegals, whatever you want to call them, 10,000 a day that they can count. I mean, they said that there's probably more than that, but normally they usually see 6,000 to 7,000 of them. And they said it's increased the last few days because they're all lined up ready to come over, because they know Title 42 is going to expire. So the sheriffs were saying that they expect to see higher numbers than that, which is horrifying to me, because, Mr. T was saying that there's millions of them that have come across already. So, and he said the same thing I said earlier, which is common sense. They bring disease, they bring drugs, it's destruction. It's not the best of people. Unfortunately, he said we have a duty to keep our citizens and our country safe, that there's nothing wrong with these people using the proper systems to come through here, the proper way to do it, the right path, but they're not doing it. And who, for the most part, I would say the majority of people that are coming through the wrong way are the ones that are the troublemakers, the people that want to slide through the loopholes, so to speak. So the impact is in Arizona, Wisconsin, all across here. The DHS Secretary Mayork said, he was explaining something tonight. He said, as Title 42 expires, the moment it expires, there's a new plan that goes into action, a new plan, right? He's saying that warning these migrants that if they enter illegally through the wrong channels, they're going to be transported out. He's saying that he said tonight our border is not open. They have to use the lawful pathways to enter the U.S. If not, there's going to be no asylum. And he said that this was a temporary fix, a short-term fix to a huge problem. Well, I would say, why don't we prevent the problem from becoming a big issue from the get-go? There has been nothing to deter these migrants from coming or trying to enter the United States illegally. This has been an ongoing issue, and they just keep coming in and coming in. And he's warning these drug czars and stuff, saying, "Hey, we're gonna play hardball with you." Basically, I think it's a little too late for that. If you wanted to stop it or to slow it down, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. So basically, it's, I think, a little too late. It's unfortunate and stuff. And she did, you're right, Kim and Garrett, it was very disrespectful. Hey, Kim, to a former president. Like I said, we don't care whether you like a person or not. It's not about that. It's about, he was the commander in chief of the United States of America. We were in good shape. She wants to sit there and nitpick at him for things and do one-liners. It was very unprofessional. Like I said, in my opinion, it was very unprofessional. Mr. T was saying that there are 129 countries represented coming into America legally, 129 countries. And, that's a lot. We don't know who these people are. We've said this over and over. We don't, and we know that earlier D-Dog was saying in the other show that a lot of them were 30 and under, and they were male. So that's not a good sign either. It's just very frightening sometimes. Another question that Caitlin asked Mr. T was about the military equipment to the Ukraine. She said, would you still be supplying money and military equipment to the Ukraine? And who do you want to win, Ukraine or Russia? And I thought, who do you want to win, Ukraine or Russia? She brought up that question a few times and challenged him on it. And he said, I just want people to stop dying. He goes, I don't want the war. I don't want people to stop dying. And if I were still president, we wouldn't be in this position in the first place. Hey, Steve. Yep. The town hall Q&A unexpectedly wound up seeing a debate, right? Really. But basically he was saying, and this is another point, this is what you don't hear the current administration talking about, but you hear Mr. T talking about it. Mr. T said, we have given $170 billion to the Ukraine, and Europe has given $20 billion. He said, here is Europe right next door, and they're given $20 billion. He said, once again, we're taking it advantage of, and we're taking it in the, you know what I mean? That, that NAFTA, and that's why he got out of all of it. He said there would be no dollars and weapons necessary. He said, because if I was still president, he said, or the president, he goes, I would have this settled in 24 hours. I would have Zelensky and Putin in a room. We'd settle it for 24 hours. And she gave him a look like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? She forgets he had talks with these people before. He said, we've already talked about this. And he said he believes Putin made a mistake by going in. He said that him and Putin talked about it before. And he said Putin is a very smart man, and he just believes he made a crucial mistake by going in there in the first place. But he said, if I was president, it wouldn't have happened. It didn't. He believes it wouldn't have happened because it didn't while he was president. He knew how to talk to people. So many people in politics and across the country, even the world, made fun of him because they said, oh, these leaders are your good friend. They're your enemies. They shouldn't be your friend. But the thing is, the man knew how to negotiate and talk with these people. He kept peace. Mr. B is supposed to be friendly. They said friendly with these people. Okay. He's got all these wheelings and dealings with these people, but they don't have any respect for him. So what's happening is the chaos that's ensuing in our world now. They're taking advantage of him. Why? Because even though they may be friendly, they use him for business deals and stuff, and they have no respect for him is what's happening. And they're running us over. With Mr. T, they knew not to mess with him. They knew he would do what he said he was going to do. And they've heard him say, I'd rather negotiate and give what's fair and honest for everybody as best we can. War is the last thing we need. That's the last thing we need to do because it's not good for anybody. It's everybody, you know. So I liked how he answered her question about, I just want people to stop dying. That was a very good point because she kept pressuring. And she kept saying, so you're not going to say that you support Ukraine. That's all she wanted out of him. And I was so happy that he did not say that he answered it the way he did. You know why? Because he doesn't have to think about it because it's how he really feels. He doesn't have to read place cards that people put in front of him with marker on there to highlight, okay, like they do with Biden. Okay, you start here, Mr. President, then you walk off here and just say this. Okay, look to the guy with the blue coat. We've seen all the I call them clue cards that they have to give Biden when he gives a speech or anything. I don't even call it a speech, really, when he gets out a few words here and there. So Mr. T handled it, I thought, like, Amy, it's good to see you. Yeah, look how he communicated with North Korea. Absolutely. You know, I think that was one of the most monumental moments in my life as far as politics and what happened when he stepped over that little wall and he was invited by Kim Jong-un in there. And no president's ever done that. We all know that. Now, you can call Mr. T crazy, but he did it. And we had peace. I mean, they called each other names back and forth, but there was peace. There was calm. Sometimes in life, you have to not be very nice to get the point across. You have to not be very nice in order to be respected and be a little crazy so people know better than to take advantage of you. You know, I mean, Mr. T just held his ground. I thought it was very big. It was huge, Kim. It was really huge. He had a great relationship with a lot of people. He gained respect for America back. Now, you guys, seriously, we know that we gave 170 billion to the Ukraine. We know that. But did you know Europe only gave 20 billion? They've got the money. Like Mr. T said, once again, we're just bending over, taking it, right? Why are we doing that? You know, this is why we're being laughed at. This is why nobody respects him or this country anymore. Then another question that she asked that I thought was very interesting, which she said, will you accept the results of the outcome should you win the being able to win and you win the election for the Republican Party? She said, will you accept the results and the outcome of whoever wins presidency? And he said, if it's an honest election, yes, I will accept the results. And she kept saying, so you're not going to commit to accepting the results no matter what they are? And he said, once again, I will tell you, if it's an honest one, I will. If not, not. So she said, basically, you're not over it. You keep bringing it up. You've been bringing it up all night about it was rigged and all this stuff from the other year. So 2020. I'll try not to put it together so I don't trigger anything to get me taken down. But I did stay on for a moment to look at the panel because, of course, they had a panel, CNN panel of all these people. Jake Tapper's there. All right. And they start talking. And the first thing they do is they start saying that he was full of lies. It's nothing but lies. He's not going to let anything go. He still kept bringing up the last one that it's lies. So the blonde lady, I forget what her name is, but she's got short blonde hair, was saying, yeah, once again, at least we know that he said this not amongst just his people who approve of it, but the undecided people and the people, they saw it out of his own mouth, normally people that wouldn't see that he won't let it go. So she was almost acting as if that was a good thing, that he did that, because now the people will see him for who he truly is, and he's not letting it go. So I thought that was, so basically what I'm saying is this panel, I couldn't stand more than a few moments of it because they were spinning everything and saying he was lying and this and just attacking him. It's like vultures coming to a big fat cow. It's like they have been starving for him for so long, and now they've got this fresh meat of him, and they're just ripping him apart, ripping him apart, ripping him apart. You know, this whole big panel of people. Anderson was on there and everybody else. So it was disappointing because It just shows you how they truly are and how they truly think. Like I said, we don't know why he went on CNN. He just said that they made him a deal that he couldn't pass up. Actually, I think it's kind of cool he went on there. It's just something that only he could do. If he went somewhere else where it's just friendly, I guess that's like the echo chamber that we always say that we don't want to hear all the time. So he went there to show people that don't necessarily agree with him that he can stand his own ground, that he can sit there and be asked questions and give answers that you can understand, that he doesn't have to look around for his wife for a hand signal or a gesture to clue him in on what he needs to be doing. He proved himself once again that he is a very smart man. He's still got all his faculties. He held his own, and he's still the vibrant, to me, intelligent person that he was years ago. Now, Mr. B, on the other hand, I don't see that at all. He's deteriorating to me pretty quickly. And when you compare the two, I don't care what side you're on, it's like night and day. How can Mr. B really be the leader of this country? He can be. I don't think he knows where he's at half the time, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. I just think he's suffering from some really serious medical issues, and that they use different medications to keep him going. I believe that it really is sad and elderly abuse. I believe that it's an abomination what these people have done to this man and with this man. Not saying that he was good in the old days. When he was younger, he was not very nice and very honest either. But now here it is, they're just propping him up. And I said in my show earlier that Steve Bannon said because he was the connector to Asia. He had all these wheelings and dealings being in government and being in politics all these years for decades. So they used him as the prop up tool because of these connections he had across all these different countries. And as I said earlier, when there's 170 different documents that the Oversight Committee came out with and said that they've studied and named 9 of his family members that were getting payouts over this. That doesn't sound like a good business deal to me. And once again, when it comes to the Biden family, what kind of business is it that they actually have? What kind of business surrounds them? When you think of them and you see everything that's come out on them, it's underhanded wheelings and dealings. You have Biden in his own words saying, I told the guy if you didn't hire or fire the SOB that you weren't going to get the money. And he goes, I'll be damned if he didn't fire the guy. So, you've got that kind of stuff going on. Yet here they are worried about somebody from 1990 who was on the panel and part of the lawmakers to change the time limit on laws of in New York with this thing that he just got in trouble for with this Carol lady. So she was the one that helped change this law and extend the statute of limitations. And here she is, the first case out there. And she's the one that brought it out there against Trump. And she's the one that had her hands involved in changing the statute of limitations. So all in all today, you guys, I just think that we saw a lot today from both sides. We see that it's just going to keep staying dirty when it comes to Mr. T. It's just never going to let up. Garrett says the Trump brought up the leading. I'm in the polls. She wanted to switch the question. Yeah, a couple times too. She did get super bad, and she did change the subject, and she kept saying him like he was a toddler to stay on topic. I thought Mr. T actually held himself back a little bit tonight as far as reining his temper in or his wanting to respond. I think he was really controlled tonight. I think that he has seasoned himself very well because actually when it comes to debating and stuff, Mr. T, does a wonderful job. Like I said, when it comes to the debates coming up, we'll see if there are any, because I don't know what they can use against him. He wins the Republican nomination. I don't know what they can use to debate him with, because I think he's going to rip him to shreds if it even gets to that. There is nothing good in this country that this Biden administration has going on. You know what's good about this country is God, the spirit of the American worker, the people, the military that believes in the oath of protecting this country. And that's what's good. And each American citizen that stands up for their rights and the truth, and not being sheep led astray, with like a hook in their mouth, believing the stuff and the lies that has been told by the left. Like I said, it's only name calling and stuff that they can do. They don't have any facts. Everything they've thrown against this man has fallen to the wayside, except for this today. Now there'll be an appeal. Trump's lawyer has already said that he is going to appeal this, and they believe it's going to be overturned and become another nothing burger. That's what they've been doing. That's what they've been doing all along. And the timing of this is pretty poignant. They don't do this just randomly. It's set in place, different timing for everything that comes out. Yeah, Garrett, they're probably going to try to spin this town hall. Yep, I agree with that. In fact, check everything you said, because you know what, Garrett, they already said on the panel. Guess what? You nailed it, Garrett, because on the panel, before I decided, or I hit the button to come on, they already said, well, we don't have enough time tonight to talk about all the lies that he said, but we'll have to put something together and break it down. So they are going to try to fact check it, spin it, and all that, but we know what's coming. I'm just going to say that, like I said, I'm happy that Mr. T held his own. I love that it was just random, and he was still himself. He's just, making the point across, and he had the numbers off the top of his head. That's another thing that our current leader can't do. He knows nothing about numbers. He knows nothing about policy and everything that's going on. He gets the press gives him such a break. It's an embarrassment. Mr. T used to walk out of that White House and they'd be lined up, 6 or 7 deep on both sides, just hammering him with questions, and he would answer them. And I don't care who our president is, he should be able to do that. He shouldn't need note cards, or she shouldn't need note cards. He shouldn't be, or she, wandering off stages and running into walls and needed to be directed on where to go. An accident here or there is one thing, but when you just don't have a clue what's going on, and then you get angry, there's a lot of anger that comes out in him for no reason, or there's major things going on in this world, in country, and he doesn't speak about them. It's even the press secretary does not even talk about the things that need to be talked about. In my opinion, it's all just crazy to me anymore. But we are nearing the end of this crazy train, you guys. So it's been one heck of a ride, and we'll have to see what comes up next. But that's about all I had to talk about for the wrap up tonight. Once again, if you guys didn't get a chance to see it, it is going to be available tomorrow on demand, and I'm sure that a lot of different people will probably have it posted as well. But it was pretty interesting, in my opinion. So thanks for coming back out with me for a few, you guys, and we'll talk soon. I'll get you with you guys on the next one. Have a great, peaceful rest of your evening, everybody, and we'll talk soon. Bye.